So I just realized that this video, it went to 390,000 people, right? And this is pure promotion for performance-enhancing drugs. I feel better. I get a better pump. I'm more motivated. I'm sure he didn't intend for that to happen, but he had a good outcome and he wanted to share that with guys. But how many people punched in their natty cards, because of this video from Jesse James West? Vigorous Steve here. So it appears that Jesse James West just punched his natty cards by taking some injectable pre-workout. And since I'm quite a connoisseur of injectable pre-workout, I feel explicitly qualified to make a reaction video. For the guys who don't know, Jesse James West is a very entertaining and very popular natural bodybuilder. When I say natural, currently drug-free, or at least until the point he started injecting his pre-workout. So I'll be the judge of that. Conclusion at the end of this video. He does a lot of collaborations with very popular people in the fitness industry on his YouTube channel. I'll link it down below. And 2 weeks ago, he made a video about taking some injectable pre-workouts, and he had a phenomenal experience. So that's the video we're going to review in this video on my YouTube channel, albeit that my YouTube channel is significantly smaller than Jesse James West. He's got almost 3 million followers. Before we get into it, please like the video, leave a comment for the algorithm, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you want to join the weekly Vigorous Q&A, which is always on Saturday, so you can ask me questions, you can do so by joining either the YouTube or Patreon memberships. So you have 1 entire hour to ask your questions privately before we go public. And otherwise, you can simply support the channel by voting for upcoming deep dives or helping me with some of the costs on the back end. So let's get started with this video of Jesse James West, released 2 weeks ago, and on June the 29th, already got 930,000 views. That's something I would get in maybe an entire year.
This is injectable pre-workout, known to be 3 times more effective than your standard pre-workout.
Wait a minute. I'm sure Derek from More Plates, More Dates is already triggered because Gorilla Mind, of course, is a sponsor of Jesse James West, as they are a sponsor of mine. And I've been using their Gorilla Mode Nitric and Gorilla Mode Energy, all of their products quite favorably and readily for most of my workouts, besides the injectable pre-workouts that I take here and there. So comparing the injectable pre-workout to Gorilla Mode Nitric, bold statements, but let's continue.
I'll be taking this every single day for the next week to see how far we can take my natural limits. All right, injectable.
Again, I'll be the judge of that, Jesse. Let's see if you're still natural after taking these drugs.
Pre-workout time, baby. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't nervous. All right, guys, we're about to do the injectable pre-workout. I'm not gonna lie, my heart's racing a little bit. I don't inject anything in my body. And this is definitely new. Okay, what was your name again? Kelly, right?
My name's Kelly. I'm a registered nurse here at LifeMed Institute. So with an injection, Jesse's actually gonna absorb.
Oh, disclaimers. Because I'm gonna give you some time to read the disclaimers, because disclaimers are what it's all about, right? She's a registered nurse, and this is only for educational and entertainment purposes. And the medications were prescribed by a doctor. So apparently there's doctors out there nowadays who can administer injectable pre-workout if you feel that your pre-workout is basically at the bottom of the reference range. And if you want to have a top of the reference range workout, then you need some injectable pre-workout. So let's continue.
About 90% of this pre-workout, instead of, taking a drink, taking a supplement in my mouth, only getting about 30%. It's actually going to be way better for him and with gym results in the long run.
What is everything?
Wait a minute, only 30%? You only get 30% of the oral pre-workout into your bloodstream. Do we have that much metabolism in the intestinal tract that only 30% actually gets absorbed to be used during the workouts? I think not. I think the bioavailability of most of the pre-workout ingredients is actually quite high. But let's be fair, some of the ingredients actually convert into an active ingredient internally. For example, beta-alanine converts into carnosine, which helps with the lactic acid buffer within skeletal muscle and regulates the pH balance during the workout. Otherwise, lactic acid starts to accumulate, and that really hinders performance. So you take beta-alanine to get sufficient amounts of carnosine stores within skeletal muscle, but carnosine, if you take that orally, has very poor oral bioavailability. So it would be better to either inject that directly within skeletal muscles or take beta-alanine, which converts into carnosine at quite a high rate. So maybe this is where this 30% actually stems from, but she's a doctor, so let's just take her word for it. And let's continue.
Injectable pre-workout is an amino blend. We can also do like an adjunct with B12. It helps increase blood flow. It helps muscle pump. It helps really repair and build that muscle. The B12 helps with energy as well as boost your metabolism a little bit.
So wait, hold on.
Exactly. Hold on. Let me interject. Injectable vitamin B12 also contributes to red blood cell production, especially when you're using anabolic androgenic steroids. Now, in case of Jesse James West, that appears not to be the case, right? He's still drug-free up until this moment he started injecting pre-workouts. And injectable vitamin B12 also significantly boosts your appetite. So let's see if he became ravenously hungry during his contest prep, because 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that he recorded this video, he was still in a contest prep mode. I believe that he's competing this weekend. He certainly looked very, very lean on his progress pictures when he posted on Instagram. Certainly a lot better than the previous contest he did. So I would like to add that vitamin B12 increases your RBC count and hematocrit dramatically. Keep that in mind, guys, if you were to try something like this yourself.
Does this make me natty? Like still?
Not at all.
No? I'm losing my natty card?
That's right.
No, you are still natty all the way. It's just like taking a pre-workout drink. You're getting it the better way. Absolutely possible. Absolutely natural.
Oh, damn. Here we go.
We're gonna mix them both together. You ready?
I'm as ready as I'm gonna ever be.
Big stick. Hard part two.
Oh, it's already done?
Already done.
Wow.
Oh, that's a good nurse. She injects and you don't even notice it. Luckily, vitamin B12 and all of these injectable pre-workouts are water-based, so you don't really feel anything during the injection. But I'm pretty sure the post-injection pain would have been brutal for Jesse because, of course, he's got virgin muscle. Within the first 5 to 7 administrations of any muscle tissue that you pin, whether that's with steroids or vitamin B12 or injectable pre-workouts, some post-injection pain is to be expected. But I will tell you this, if you draw blood from an artery for blood work analysis, that is actually a lot more painful than a water-based injection.
When will it kick in?
Normally kicks in within an hour. It's going to go right into your bloodstream. You're absorbing it right now as you speak.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're about to get an IV of all different electrolytes, more aminos, more B12, to literally give us the greatest pump of all time to ever touch this planet.
So Jesse got this really to rehydrate him. He is getting 100% of the vitamins and minerals that we put in this IV bag. When you take a supplement by mouth, you only get about 30% of it. In a shot, you get about 80% of it. IV, it's 100% going right in your bloodstream at that time. We can put kind of like a hefty, safe dose amount of those vitamins and minerals. They'll last about 4 weeks. Really good for hydration, energy. We can kind of customize it to what you want.
So when they pulled the needle out just now, a good amount of, let's just say, internal body fluids came out, which shows the blood flow is definitely increased right now.
Happens to me also once in a while, 2 organs which have increased blood flow. A lot of bodily fluids come out, but only at night and only with my partner. So, you know, based on this IV administration, I would say that most of his injectable pre-workout is now going systemic. He got a shoulder administration of vitamin B12, so that might have a tiny amount of localized effect, but that's also going to go systemic because, again, red blood cell production happens entirely somewhere else than the shoulders. So he took his pre-workout systemically. What I would personally recommend is to administer them bilaterally into the muscle groups that you're going to train. So if you're going to train chest, for example, one administration here, one administration there for phenomenal super pumps. But I'm not entirely sure what he's administering. I'm not exactly sure what the amino acid cocktail or the electrolyte cocktail is. All I saw is that his IV bag was yellow, so that indicates there's a decent amount of vitamin C in there, which I'm sure many of you guys are going to pull up studies about vitamin C, that it blunts the post-exercise stress response and makes you super anti-anabolic, which I've debunked many, many times on this YouTube channel already. So let's see if he's actually going to go into actual dosages, because I would like to know how many milligrams of each of these injectable pre-workout compounds he's actually taken. But maybe that comes a little bit later.
From the injectable pre-workout. I'm good, right? Yeah, I'm good. Okay. My first workout on injectable pre-workout is about to happen. Now, the reason I even think to try injectable pre-workout is because right now I'm in the midst of my bodybuilding prep, where my energy's low and my pumps are almost non-existent. I've got to give myself every natty advantage that I can, so let's see if injectable pre-workout solves my problem. I plan to come...
Oh, and let me just interject. I mean, he does look natty in those pictures, even though he has very favorable lighting. It's very similar to what I looked like when I was still drug-free up until the age of 26. You know, when you're in really good shape, sub 8% body fat, you look a lot bigger than you really are. And especially with that kind of lighting, it might look like you're on a tiny amount of steroids. But from my experience, after 25 years in this fitness industry, that does look very, very natural. But he still looks very, very good. So drugs or not, Jesse, you look great.
Come in and train shoulders on day one, but because of the injection point, I just was not used to having any pain in my shoulder. So I decided, what better way to test this than to do legs? So every single day, I'm going to be comparing my pump before the workout and after the workout.
Jesse's gonna feel a much better pump. He's gonna see a lot bigger build in his muscle, a lot easier build in his muscle. It's gonna help with that lactic acid burn. So when you hurt the day after or the second day after, which is really the worst part, it really helps with that.
And we're looking at a 23.8 on my right leg.
Oh, man.
And on my left leg, we are looking at additionally 23.8. We're gonna go get this leg workout in, measure at the end, and see the difference before and after with the pump. I was very skeptical going into this whole entire experiment because I just figured that there's no way that this stuff is gonna be better than a standard pre-workout. It feels like I had a high...
Again, Derek is getting triggered right here. But I can vouch for it. Injectable pre-workout is much more intense than oral conventional pre-workout, albeit that it's, from my personal experience, better to just take a little bit of both so you can have the best of all worlds, right? Oral pre-workout has a very high dose of citrulline malate. You would never, ever, ever in your life be able to inject that much citrulline malate intramuscularly or intravenously. It would not be a good idea. So you would still take the Gorilla Mode Nitric or Gorilla Mode and then use the injectable pre-workouts for some of the compounds which are not found in oral pre-workouts, and then combine them for the best, maximum, crazy, stupid pumps. Right? You don't have to choose. You can just do both. It's not Sega versus Nintendo or Xbox versus PlayStation. If you like games, you have both of them. I hope that's clear.
High carb meal before this, and I can feel my muscles and the fibers contracting a little better through each rep. But we're gonna find out soon if that's gonna cause a bigger pump or not. Right away, after doing squats, I noticed that I actually had really good blood flow through my legs, not just in my muscles, but also in my joints and my ligaments, to where it felt like everything was just smooth. My whole body feels smoother in the joints and the muscles. I feel like I have a really, really good warm up, even though I didn't warm up that much. It didn't feel...
So I already know exactly how this feels. So he did notice quite a substantial effect. And this is where the trick lies in when it comes to performance enhancing drugs. Once you start using these kinds of compounds, whether you start low and conservative with injectable pre-workouts, once you get used to that feeling, you can't train without it. So let's see how long it takes for Jesse James West to start taking some actual performance enhancing drugs. Because if he thinks that his workout is very enjoyable on a tiny amount of injectable pre-workout, imagine how crazy it is on real steroids and real peptides and real performance enhancing drugs. So Jesse, you're going to be joining the club relatively soon, because I'm sure all of those pumps went away after you stopped with this 1 week experiment.
Like I was squatting and my legs were cracking or feeling awkward. It just felt like my whole body was just lubricated. I don't want to come off all like... Maybe
there was some nandrolone in this injectable pre-workout, right? You never know. Maybe the doctor spiced in a little bit, 10 milligrams, 25 milligrams of nandrolone phenylpropionate. I guess we'll never know.
Oh, it's working, but like, I don't know, man. My butt has a pump and I never get a butt pump. Midway through the workout, the pump was...
Didn't you do a video about the training in jail? Maybe you got a butt pump there. Otherwise, you should have, right? That's one of the jail activities that goes on behind closed bars. Or at least so I've been told. I've never been to jail and I never plan to go to jail.
Way bigger than I thought it was. I haven't had a pump like this since the Tom Platz leg day. And let's just say that was insane. See, I've been on diet for about 4 weeks, so getting a pump is honestly kind of rare. I don't get pumped as a natural bodybuilder. It's very difficult when I'm so carb depleted, I have no glycogen in my muscles, to actually go get an efficient, amazing, blood-induced pump. But this time around was different. My legs are so...
So this is also very beneficial for the guys who do contest preps, whether you take performance enhancing drugs or not. When you're severely glycogen depleted and you've been on a very low calorie diet for a long period of time, which just doesn't matter which context you compete in, whether that's drug free or enhanced, At one point, that's going to be required if you want to end up super shredded. You can ask any natural bodybuilder or any bodybuilder that takes performance-enhancing drugs towards the end. You're just going to have to suffer, and that means no pumps. You have to go flat to get shredded, right? And then eventually, of course, you start loading back up into the show because hopefully you're ready early and don't have to do any cuckoo magic towards the end. So I'm sure he lost his pump for many workouts already. And then adding in a little bit of injectable pre-workout is certainly beneficial to improve blood flow. Again, I'm a little bit curious now what the ingredients of his injectable pre-workout actually are.
So pumped. This is gonna be nuts. It's not even like a regular pump where it's like just a lower quad or something. It's literally my entire leg. Okay. Wait, did that just say 25? Almost 25. 25 inches. That's literally a full inch of a pump. The craziest part of all is that the pump doesn't end at the gym. A few hours.
Wait a minute. So where's the baseline, right? We want to see the amount of inches gained, or maybe he only gained half an inch before he ever took the injectable pre-workout, maybe the leg day before that. So we need a baseline, like I always mention here on the YouTube channel. You get a baseline reading first, train your quads, do the exact same workout. You check your quad size with the measuring tape before and after. Then the next quad workout, after the injectable pre-workout, you see if there's a difference, right? So maybe you had a 1 inch pump on no injectable pre-workout and still a 1 inch pump on the injectable pre-workout. So again, I would like to see a baseline reading. Dr. Jesse, I'm a little bit disappointed, but maybe you can redeem yourself a little bit later in this video.
Hours later, I still had a pump. The legs like still just feel pumped, and there's like a different, I don't know, it's really difficult to describe, but it just feels different inside of my legs. So with day 1 in the books, it was
So for all the guys who take steroids, you know that you're going to stay pumped for several hours after workout, especially if you're on a hefty dose with insulin, IGF-1, and whatever else, right? You're pumped basically the entire day, tying your shoelaces, going to the bathroom and standing up from the bathroom. You already got a phenomenal super pump. But when you're drug-free, and again, up until the injections, when you're drug-free and you never have a pump that sustains any longer than your next post-workout meal, and after that, you're just simply flat if you're undergoing a contest prep. So I'm sure he was very, very happy with those results, as most of the performance-enhancing drug users are. That's why we ultimately use them to stay pumped 24/7, baby.
Clear to say this stuff definitely works. But what about all the other muscles? All right, guys, day 2 of the injectable pre-workout. Let's head inside and start this bad boy up. Going into day 2, I was most ecstatic because who doesn't want to get a massive, juicy chest pump and shoulders and triceps and blood and gorge all through my body? Okay.
You should inject it somewhere else if you want to have a phenomenal super pump and engorgement. But I think Papaverine or Caberject are the injectables that you're looking for, Jesse. Maybe when you're in a relationship for 10, 15 years, you can do a consultation with me and I'll send you on your way.
Okay, the pre-workout, pre-pump measure. Let's do this. Okay, 50 inches.
50 inches with the shoulders. Okay, he's definitely natural, guys. I got a measuring tape, so to compare. Sorry. Get your composure back, Steve. 50 inches. All right, I got a measuring tape here. Let's see. All right, so I just finished my measurements, and with my lats flared, I'm 51 inches. Let's zoom into that. Hopefully you can see that. And that's not including the shoulders, guys. That's just the torso. The way you record this normally. So with the shoulders, I mean, now I'm really curious. Let's say 57 inches. 57 inches. So if me and Jesse were to do a hide and seek contest with a group of other people, I could just stand there like this, and then Jesse can hide behind me, never to be found. And so let's see how big of a pump he would get. But Jesse, please just measure the torso so we can actually see how much of a chest pump you get. Not including the shoulders, okay? That's definitely not natural approved.
50 inches is the number to beat today. If I can get 52, that is going to be insane. So typically when you take your pre-workout before going to the gym, you are gonna start getting tingles. Depending on the pre-workout, you're also going to kind of feel jittery, and maybe you took too much caffeine and you just don't feel as smooth. But with this injectable pre-workout, it's just a smooth energy that isn't tingly, it's not jittery, and it's just a nice, smooth experience going to the gym, and you're just focused. Injectable pre-workout, you know, people...
I think he completely forgot about Gorilla Mode Nitric. That's the smoothest pre-workout ever take. That has no caffeine, that has no jittery feeling, no stimulants in any way, shape, or form. That's just pure pump and pure bliss. So maybe Jesse, take some of the Gorilla Mind products that Derek is sending you. The Nitric will kick your butt way more than the Mode or the Energy or the other pre-workouts that contain caffeine and stimulants. And that way you can maybe get a similar pump to these injectable pre-workouts. Maybe, just a thought here, maybe you should do a video reviewing Gorilla Mode Nitric and see how many inches you can gain on your quads and inches you can gain on your chest, including the shoulder, so we have a fair comparison. Maybe you can get 3 inches of pump if you take Gorilla Mode Nitric. You can do double scoops. That's totally natural approved.
Probably see this like hole in my arm and they're like, yo, Jesse's not natty. There tends to be a large stigma around anything involving a needle in the bodybuilding space of becoming unnatty. It's all about the ingredients getting put into your body, and this stuff is extremely natural and extremely healthy. It's basically just vitamins and minerals and amino acids, but for some reason it's 3 times more effective. Bro, the pump is
Just a complete justification of what he's doing. Okay, we'll let it slide.
immaculate already. Starting off the chest workout, within 1 exercise, the pump was there like this. That is because it is a vasodilator as well, which means it is going to make the blood flow more extreme throughout the body, throughout the muscle, and especially where you're pushing and contracting the muscles. So not only am I gonna have a more effective workout, I'm also going to have a safer workout. Only 3
Maybe it has some injectable adenosine monophosphate, which is the most potent vasodilator known to man. That's actually clinically used to dilate the blood vessels of the heart during a contrast MRI, right, with gadolinium contrast, which is a little bit unhealthy. That's why everybody has to sign a waiver when you do a MRI with contrast, but it's the adenosine monophosphate that dilates your blood vessels wide open, just like we saw in that graphic. And beta-alanine and citrulline malates or other nitric oxide boosters come close, but not quite. So maybe that's contained in his injectable pre-workout. But if he were to do that intravenously, I think he would be on the floor hyperventilating. So I highly doubt there was any AMP in his injectable intravenous pre-workout, because intravenous AMP, very, very potent. That would need to be administered intramuscularly, as we'll discuss a little bit later when we go over the Amino Asylum products, which are a very good comparison point. Certainly my favorite injectable pre-workouts out there.
3 sets in and I have a full upper body pump, like forearm, arm, shoulder, chest. Normally it takes like 3 exercises to even get anywhere near that. At this point, I was just mesmerized on the pump. Your whole muscle gets pumped, not just the upper pec, not just the lower pec. I wasn't just getting a pump in my chest and my shoulder, I was getting a pump in my forearm, in my back, and I wasn't even training back. Dude.
Sounds like he's on Trenbolone. You do 1 set, you're pumped, micro veins everywhere, and then whatever body parts you train, whether that's chest or shoulders, you get a forearm pump and a lower back pump and shin splints and all that good stuff, right? We're used to that stuff, but I guess it's new territory for Jesse. Yeah. How long is it going to take before Jesse gets on the Trenbolone sandwich? Place your bets down below.
I've never seen myself this wide in my entire life. Are you kidding me? Moment of truth. Let's measure. 51 inches. The fact that I was getting pumps in places.
That's a good difference, though. That's a big difference, right? Pumped, unpumped. Of course, with the upper body, you get a bigger pump and a more pronounced pump, because the legs, when you're drug-free, you really need to suffer to get all of the fat off. So as you can see from his before and after pictures right here, right before the workout and after workout, for his upper body workout and lower body workout, you see that his lower body still contains a decent amount of body fat, so the changes are less dramatic. But with the upper body, since he's leaner there, because again, he's not, stepping on stage just quite yet in this video, you see that the difference is a lot more pronounced. So it's good to see that he's having such a good experience.
Places I wasn't training. Dude, this is like a cheat code. The craziest part about the injectable pre-workout is that it's in your system for like an entire week, which is just madness, because later in the day, I was doing yard work and had a pump.
I just want to know what yard work that you have been doing.
I've been building
He's been
chairs.
using a hand drill to help.
That's wifey material right there. They've been together for 2 years. You can tell everything about a man based on his girlfriend or his partner And based on Jesse's girlfriend, soon-to-be wife, don't wait too long, Jesse. Right? She's going to get snatched up by somebody else. Based on Jesse's partner, I think he's a solid dude. Right? She looks like a keeper 100%.
Help me, which I'm doing majority of the work.
No, she's complaining, though. Maybe not so much of a keeper.
Let me say, this stuff also works in the bedroom. It was immaculately pumped. Ask a doctor, they'll tell you. No, not like I did it with the doctor. I meant like ask the doctor. Can we just cut to the doctor?
It's gonna help confidence, that muscle pump, increase blood flow everywhere to the body, give you a little bit of energy, stamina. I think it'd be great.
Although with legs and upper body, we've seen great results with this injectable pre-workout, I was still skeptical. Is it the hydration? Is it the food I ate before the gym? So today I'm going to carb deplete myself to see if I still get a pump tomorrow. All right, guys, we are rocking a solid 42.5 inches of girth around my lats. My goal.
All right, so he does know how to measure his lats and his chest correctly. 42 inches. Versus 50 inches from a guy who's not even on cycle right now, using ATG monotherapy alongside recombinant FSH to get my wife pregnant. Imagine if I was on cycle. But of course, there's going to be a difference between actual, natural, drug-free bodybuilding and bodybuilders using performance-enhancing drugs. How tall is Jesse James West? I know he's about 180, 190 pounds, depending on the phase of his off-season or contest prep. But how tall is this guy? Can anybody remind me in the comment section? Seems quite small, but I can't remember what my chest was measured at when I was still drug-free. Maybe I was like 36 and I shouldn't really be talking right now.
Would be 44. An inch and a half. I think it's totally doable. Okay, this just in. Apparently this stuff still works even if you're carb depleted. It's actually insane. Like, I just do a warm-up set and the blood flow is so much stronger than when I don't have the injectable pre-workout. It's just nuts. It's too good to be true at this point. Like, I'm questioning where the catch is here. But so far, I haven't found anything. There's something about getting a pump that keeps me so much more motivated. When I come in the gym and I'm tired, but I get a great pump, it's game over. I feel better, I'm more motivated, I'm more focused because I know that it's working. So going into this workout.
So I just realized that this video, it went to 390,000 people, right? And this is pure promotion for performance-enhancing drugs. I feel better. I get a better pump. I'm more motivated. The pump is longer lasting. I get a 1-inch pump everywhere on my body. It's just like pure promotion for performance-enhancing drugs. I'm sure he didn't intend for that to happen, but he had a good outcome and he wanted to share that with guys. But how many people started using injectable pre-workout after watching this video? How many people punched in their natty cards, because of this video from Jesse James West? I mean, don't get me wrong. I've made several videos about injectable pre-workout for my audience, but I think most of my audience is actually already using performance-enhancing drugs. And I'm not trying to convince you to go on PEDs, even though it might seem that some of my videos are promoting performance-enhancing drugs and the use of them as well, right? In the end, it's up to the audience to make the correct decisions and get informed before they touch anything at all. Right? Read the disclaimer at the beginning of this video, please.
I was just doing my normal workout. I wasn't changing anything, and we achieved a very, very thick pump to where I started getting veins in places we've never seen. Okay, we just took a photo of my back. There is literally a back vein. That's not normal. I'm able to feel the muscle contract really well because the pump is so large. What I'm finding crazy is normally I need a Rice Krispie, a fat bottle of water, a whole bunch of salt, and a ton of pump products to even get a pump anywhere near this. That's where the difference is with this stuff. It's almost like it's overriding all the other aspects that you need for a pump, and it's just like, nope, here's your pump, enjoy it. That's mind-blowing to me.
So where's the discount code? Let me scroll down. All right, Gorilla Mind Supplements, the best supplements on the planet. Still got a discount code there. Don't use Jesse's code, just use Vigorous. Let's see. Young LA. That's it. Where's the discount code for this anti-aging clinic that is injecting your pre-workout for you? Now, I would expect, with all these positive reviews, I would expect a discount code down below. Luckily, I have a discount code for Amino Asylum, right? That's Vigorous too. All
right, bro, I feel even more than a Dorito chip than ever. Like, are you kidding? Oh my God, it's sticking. My like lats are sticking out.
I mean, to be fair, he does look great, right? I'll be the first one to admit it. He looks absolutely great, better than I looked when I was drug-free, close to 13 years ago at the age of 26 when I took the plunge. He does look a lot better, a lot leaner than I got at my last diet before I started experimenting with PEDs. I've been this lean, but I wasn't this big, so I'll be the first one to admit it. Jesse, you look absolutely great with or without the injectable pre-workouts.
Oh my God, you're at 44.
No.
Yeah.
Get the camera. Get the camera. Are you for real? 44.
It's a huge difference. I mean, even his tan improved. Of course, that's the blood flow and the vascularity, you know, bringing all the red blood to the surface. So maybe some of his vasodilating compounds are really working. I would like to see a before and after, again, without the injectable pre-workout or without any pre-workout in general, and then comparing a before and after like this to something like Gorilla Mode Nitric, which again contains a lot of pump products. And then let's see what the actual difference is. He looks great. And of course, those delt striations were going away if he keeps doing those vitamin B12 shots. So don't overdo it. Don't keep doing these vitamin B12 shots in your delts, because the more you pin your delts, the less of striations you will have, right? Take a note from Wesley Vissers, who's got the best delt striations on the planet right now. I'm pretty sure he doesn't do any delt administrations either.
44 inches. My lats are on another level right now. However, even with this amazing pump, things were not perfect. The only difference that I did miss out on was just sipping my pre-workout in the parking lot, getting ready and getting mentally prepared for the gym. But instead, I was coming to a doctor's office to get injected.
So most of us, we just do it at home, and not intravenously, but intramuscularly, bilaterally in the muscle groups that we're going to train. When I went to Oxygen Gym in Kuwait, the main one, the entirely parking lot was filled with syringes. So instead of drinking your pre-workout in the parking lot, you can apparently also administer your pre-workout or anything else that you take pre-workouts in the parking lot as well, if we're going by Oxygen Gym, which has a ton of bodybuilders walking around. I didn't see anything like that in Dubai, but I think in Dubai, they probably are smart enough to have those Sharpie bins in the toilets, which I also remember fondly seeing in all of the gyms that I visited in Dubai.
Today is the final day of injectable pre-workout. This has been doing wonders for my life, and I feel good, I feel rejuvenated, and I'm ready for the last dosage. Okay, exposing Jesse James West. How big is his arms? All right, we're looking at 16 inches on the left arm.
Oh, 100% natural, baby.
Let's go get this workout.
100% natty.
In one session. All right, arm day, baby. Let's grow these pythons. Going into the gym today, I was feeling more confident than ever, and I was so ready to grow my arms with a massive pump. We immediately got to work, and things got crazy. Are we seeing this madness? Are we seeing this right now? Bro, are you seeing this? I literally don't look natty at all. Tell me I look natty right now.
You look natty.
This is crazy. Okay, I knew arms is gonna be the craziest. Madness. Midway through the workout, I probably had the largest arm pump I've ever had in my life. I'm getting the same feeling of when you first start working out and you get your first pump. You're like, what is this? Same vibe. Like literally, I couldn't even touch my shoulders. That's how pumped. Explode! I'm gonna explode! Woo!
Well, he clearly loves bodybuilding, right? I remember when I was his age, and you go to the gym, and you have a crazy pump, and you're there with your friends and flexing all the time, and you get a lot of compliments from all of your broskies, but all the women are kind of appalled already at this kind of size, unless there are women into the fitness industry as well. Luckily, he's already taken, so he doesn't have to worry about that.
Largest pump of my entire life. I already know it. We're hitting 17. Let's make a deal. If I hit 17 inches on my arm right now, you have to subscribe. We're trying to get to 5.
I'm already subscribed, and I already like
We
it.
have a long way to go, but I know we can do it. This is mesmerizing. No! No! Do you see that? 17 on the dot.
He's a millimeter short.
In my life. They don't even look proportionate to my body right now. 17 on the dot. Are you freaking kidding? 17 inches on my arms. They went from 16 to 17. To finally conclude this, is injectable pre-workout worth it? Injectable pre-workout does work. In a world where many supplements are gimmicks, me being a natural bodybuilder on prep and achieving the greatest pumps of my life proves otherwise. However, is it really practical for me to inject myself every workout? Do the benefits of getting a great pump outweigh the annoyance of poking myself with a needle almost every day? I guess I just felt like something was missing, and that thing was my gorilla mind.
Now the influencer stuff comes right in. Maybe I should do some of this as well to increase my Gorilla Mind sales.
Like, just so much easier to scoop this into your mouth and drink it than it is to inject yourself every day. This was a fun experiment and I'm very glad I did it, as I did achieve an insane pump. But long term and realistically, I will always stick with Gorilla Mind. If you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more content like this, watch this video here. But most importantly, do not forget to stay relentless. Peace.
Stay relentless by doing both the oral pre-workout and both the injectable pre-workout. Okay. All right. So unfortunately, no mentioning of dosages or actual active pharmaceutical ingredients which were found in the injectable pre-workout that Jesse James West was using for that entire week that he had such a great experience with. But I was able to piece it together. His brand was Olympia Pharmaceuticals, the Amino blend containing glutamine, 30 milligrams per 1 milliliter, ornithine hydrochloride, 50 milligrams per 1 milliliter. I know it's very difficult to read, but that's arginine hydrochloride, 100 milligrams per 1 milliliter, lysine hydrochloride, 50 milligrams per 1 milliliter, and citrulline, 50 milligrams per 1 milliliter. So even though he got a little bit of citrulline in his pre-workout, the injectable version, not anywhere close to what Gorilla Mind contains. It contains, depending on the scoop, anywhere between 6 to 12 grams of citrulline. So maybe a little bit of placebo took place. Of course, it's very exciting and very interesting to start taking injectable pre-workouts. And I'm not entirely sure how many milliliters of this amino blend he actually took. I read on their website of Olympia Pharmaceuticals that the recommended dose of intravenous administrations is anywhere between 1 to 3 milliliters. So let's assume that he was taking 3 milliliters to get this maximum effect, that effect that he's portrayed so heavily on the YouTube video. So that's, let's say, 90 milligrams glutamine, 150 milligrams ornithine, 300 milligrams arginine, 150 milligrams lysine, and 150 milligrams citrulline. Doesn't come anywhere close to what you would get from even a quarter scoop of Gorilla Mode or Gorilla Mode Nitric. Still, from what we can tell, right, his inch measurements went up by a whole one, and the before and after pictures were quite dramatic. So let's start comparing the Olympia Pharmaceuticals to my favorite brand for injectable pre-workouts, Amino Asylum, who has got you covered with a lot more ingredients than this and a lot higher concentration than this. Of course, those are not technically pharmaceutical approved. Olympia Pharmaceuticals is a pharmaceutically recognized compounded drug, as it mentions right there, containing the information of the compounding pharmacy that produces this amino blend formula. So let's start comparing Olympia Pharmaceuticals amino blend to some of the products from Amino Asylum. I feel that the Mass Monster blend from Amino Asylum comes the closest. That has actually the same ingredients as the amino blend. So both contain glutamine, both contain ornithine, arginine, lysine, and citrulline. But the Mass Monster blend from Amino Asylum also contains glycine, a BCAA formula in a 2:1:1 ratio. So that's, let's see, 2.5 milligrams leucine, 1.25 milligrams isoleucine, and 1.25 milligrams valine per 1 milliliter, and as well as taurine, 50 milligrams per 1 milliliter, right? We're comparing the 1 milliliter dose because we're not entirely sure how many milliliters Jesse James West took. We can speculate that he took 3 milliliters, but from my personal experience, most of the Amino Asylum products, 2 milliliters is more than sufficient, right? 1 milliliter on the left side and 1 milliliter intramuscularly on the right side. So you see here that the amino blend versus the Mass Monster blend contains 100 milligrams glutamine, 100 milligrams ornithine, so that's significantly higher than the amino blend, 100 milligrams arginine, which is the same, 50 milligrams lysine, which is also the same, double the amount of citrulline, 100 milligrams, and then again 50 milligrams glycine, 5 milligrams BCAAs, and 50 milligrams taurine on top. So you're comparing 250 milligrams active pharmaceutical ingredients per 1 milliliter versus 555 milligrams per 1 milliliter. Now, I've never used the Amino blend from Olympia Pharmaceuticals because it's not available to me, but I have tried the Mass Monster blend anywhere between 1 to 2 milliliters. And I would say that my review would be exactly the same as Jesse James West when it comes to the pump and the experience and the overall enjoyment that I would have during the workout. The Mass Monster blend certainly a lot better than the pump blend or the Monster Pump blend from Amino Asylum. Mass Monster blend is one of my favorites, like I mentioned in the review video. So I'm going to skip over the pump blend and the Mass Monster blend, but the details are on the screen. Let's go to GAC Extreme and the GAC blend, which contain only 25 milligrams of glutamine, so that's a little bit less than the Amino blend. GAC blend contains 100 milligrams arginine, and the GAC Extreme contains only 50 milligrams arginine, so that's also less compared to the Amino blends. And both GAC blends are also very good for fat loss because they contain 200 milligrams of carnitine, and GAC Extreme contains an additional 200 milligrams acetyl L-carnitine, which helps with cognition because the acetyl and L-carnitine can pass the blood-brain barrier, reform there, and if you're in a ketogenic diet, very good for cognition and focus during the workout, especially if you pair that with 50 milligrams agmatine. So you have the GAC blend, and GAC Extreme would actually be AAA, glutamine, arginine, acetyl L-carnitine, agmatine, and regular carnitine. Okay, so those come quite close to the Amino blend, albeit in lower concentrations with some additional carnitine in the picture. Stampede, the shredder, and super shredder don't have any glutamine, ornithine, arginine, lysine, or citrulline. But these three are 10 times better than Mass Monster blend or Amino blend, which I'm sure is very similar to the Mass Monster blend of Amino Asylum that I experimented with readily. My favorite is Stampede. 400 milligrams carnitine, 40 milligrams adenosine triphosphate in a low amount of 5 milligrams adenosine monophosphate. Injectable adenosine triphosphate directly contributes to the energy levels of the skeletal muscle that you injected it in. Some of this converts into AMP, which is a very potent vasodilator and now allows a lot of blood to come into the muscle. So the combination of ATP or AMP or just using ATP by itself, very, very good for pumps and overall muscular contractions way past the failure point that you would have without taking injectable ATP. Again, ATP is pure energy converting into AMP readily, but this formula contains 40 milligrams ATP and 5 milligrams AMP, so the vasodilation, absolutely crazy, especially if you pair it with Gorilla Mode Nitric, whether that's 1 scoop or double scoops, right? Now, when you compare Stampede to the Super Shredder, which also contains ATP at a little bit higher concentration, the main difference between the Stampede and these two Shredder formulas is the inclusion of methionine, inositol, and choline, also known as the MIC blend. Very popular with bodybuilders to improve fat oxidation and fat transport because methionine, inositol, and choline actually help with fat metabolism. And the Super Shredder also contains 2 milligrams albuterol, which is a very potent beta-2 adrenergic bronchodilator contributing to fat loss. And again, the inclusion of vitamin B12 in both the Shredder and the Super Shredder between 250 micrograms up to 1 milligrams help with overall energy metabolism within the muscle that you injected in. So the only overlap that the Shredder and the Super Shredder have with the Amino blend, or at least the protocol that Jesse James West was on, was injectable vitamin B12. But I would say, from my personal experience, that either Stampede or the Super Shredder, or the Mass Monster blend for that matter, hands down, 100% guaranteed, a lot more potent than the Amino blend that Jesse James used. So imagine if his review was this good, right? Based on the limited experience that he has with performance-enhancing drugs. Based on his review and my review, it seems like it's a no-brainer to add these compounds in, albeit that it's a little bit more cumbersome. I don't feel that it's necessary to go to an anti-aging clinic or a clinic and do these intravenously pre-workouts every single day. You can use Amino Asylum at home and just administer it yourself if you have the balls, the cojones, to do that. I don't see it as an issue. As soon as you go on the performance enhancing drug journey, you're doing one administration at least twice per week, right? If you go on TRT, but most of us, we do multiple administrations per day. It just becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. It's just part of the picture, not a big deal. And as long as you have your deep tissue massage therapy sessions booked, right, because you do create a little bit of scar tissue with repeated administrations intramuscularly, especially if you start putting this stuff all over your body to spike body parts, increase the pump, and of course, improve body parts to a certain extent. You do need your deep tissue massage therapy in place because otherwise you create a little bit of scar tissue and adhesions. And from my personal experience, having used a decent amount of injectable pre-workout going back all the way to the Synthetech days, which is still available, but I don't have an affiliate code, so I would rather have you purchase Amino Asylum products. Right? Talking to a lot of people who also prefer Amino Asylum, everybody vouches for the injectable route and not the intravenous route because that goes systemic. If you do this intramuscularly, again, about 30 minutes to 1 hour before training that muscle, bilaterally, so that's 1 to 2 milliliters left and right. Again, if you're injecting your chest or anywhere else, right, I'm sure you can piece it together. The injectable route into the muscle that you're going to train, the main muscle that you're going to train, that seems to be favored. So you don't have to do anything crazy with intravenous administration. Intramuscular administrations are reasonably straightforward. And as long as you practice safe and sterile injection practices, I don't think that anything can go wrong. Long story short, I'm very happy to see that Jesse James West had such a good experience with injectable pre-workouts, albeit that I would say that a lot of the effects might have been a little bit placebo. Of course, he has no experience with performance-enhancing drugs. And based on the ingredients that he administered, glutamine, ornithine, arginine, lysine, citrulline, and vitamin B12, don't worry, Jesse, you're still drug-free because these compounds are not included in the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list of 2023, which is the year that he injected these injectable pre-workouts. So, Jesse James West, you're still 100% natural. Tarkestrone doesn't count. Ecdysterone doesn't count. Glutamine, ornithine, arginine, lysine, citrulline, and vitamin B12 don't count. So you're still drug-free. You would pass the doping test if there's a doping test on your upcoming show. All right, guys, I hope it gives you some food for thought. I think it's hilarious. I'll do more reaction videos like this if I found that the video is relevant to what I'm trying to do here on this YouTube channel. For now, we're out of time. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find everything that I'm associated with down below in the YouTube description section. If you can't find it there, head over to my website, VigorousSteve.com. Got a ton more affiliates and sponsors there, and all the spicy sponsors you can find there. So bookmark that site, and a ton of free articles for your reading enjoyment. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at VigorSteve. No injectable pre-workouts, front double bicep for you guys. How many inches? You can guess right now. Let's measure it. The tape is right here. After 6 months off cycle, let's see how bad it is. All right, we'll do the left side because that's the bigger side. Because the right side has been, going to the hospital too much, doing donations, and it's slightly catabolic. Well, I think that's a little bit over 18 inches. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully it's measured fairly. That's no pump, no pre-workouts, no injectable stuff, anything besides HCG and FSH. Still quite commendable, but let's see what happens when I get back on cycle and start getting on the Mass Monster, the Stampede, and the Super Shredder injectable gain train. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.